If you can afford to hold property and hold more than one property, it's really hard to know when it makes sense to actually offload a property. You know, when do you sell? Is the name of the game, like Monopoly, to just keep acquiring property if that's within your capacity? But when is it time to actually offload one? Well, I'll tell you one reason if it just does your head in. If you've had a property that's given you some grief and you go to bed at night thinking, why did that financial advisor talk me into this thing in Brisbane? Right, well, you know, sell it, cop your loss and move on. But one of the best reasons to offload a property is if you are going to experience a capital loss, it might be that you've experienced a capital gain in another aspect of your life. Maybe you've sold some shares or a business asset. Since you've got the asset and you've got a loss to offset it, it might be an idea to do it within that same financial year. But one of the main reasons why I see people would sell a property, besides obviously if they had to, if you need to sell your property to buy the next one, well, that's a no-brainer. But a lot of people, let's say they have an owner-occupied home loan. They have a $500,000 home loan that they're servicing with their after-tax dollars, and you've got an investment property that you purchased 10 years ago for $500, but it's now worth $1 million. So you've got $500,000 equity. You know, that's what happens over 10 years. Negative gearing goes out the window. It might have been a negatively geared property when you bought it, but now it's $1 million property, generating say $800 a week rent at a 4% gross return, and you owe $500,000 on it. It's positively geared, you're paying tax on the rent, plus you've got this $500,000 home loan that you are servicing with your after-tax dollars. In this case, it actually makes a lot of sense to dispose of that asset, sell the investment property. There might be a little bit of capital gains tax there, but on large, you might end up with $400,000 that you can squash down your bad loan. I think the first aim in life is try to reduce the loan that relates to your owner-occupied property, because that is not tax deductible and is serviced with your after-tax dollars. It even makes sense to sell that investment property to use the equity to squash down your home loan, and then buy the property right next door to the investment property you just sold. Sure, you're going to cop it in transaction fees, like the fee for the agent to sell the property for you, and you're going to have to pay stamp duty again. But gee, you then borrow 104% of that property, so you borrow the whole $1,040,000. You've got no home loan or a $100,000 home loan. Your tax position, you know, you've recycled all your bad debt into all good debt. For the price of stamp duty and transaction fees. So that's another reason to sell a property. You know, obviously if you're selling a commercial property to your self-managed super fund, that's a whole nother ball game. But if you have a commercial property in your name, you need to learn what you can do with that with self-managed superannuation. Thanks for watching.